From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the morning news for November 7th, 2025. These are the stories we are reporting at this hour. A federal judge in Chicago on Thursday issued an extensive injunction restricting federal agents' use of force, saying Thursday that a top Border Patrol official leading an immigration crackdown repeatedly lied about threats posed by protesters and reporters. The preliminary injunction came in response to a lawsuit filed by news outlets and protesters who allege federal agents have used excessive force during the operation that has netted more than 3,000 arrests and led to heated clashes across the nation's third largest city and its many suburbs. I see little reason for the use of force that the federal agents are currently using, said U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis. I don't find defendants' version of events credible. The order restricts agents from using certain riot control weapons such as tear gas and pepper balls, unless such force is objectively necessary to prevent an immediate threat. It also bars agents from using physical force, including shoving protesters and journalists to the ground, and it requires agents to give 2 warnings before using riot control weapons. In other news, a jury in Virginia awarded $10 million Thursday to a former teacher who was shot by a 6-year-old student, siding with her claims in a lawsuit that an ex-administrator ignored repeated warnings that the child had a gun. The jury returned its decision against Ebony Parker, a former assistant principal at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News. Abby Zwerner was shot in January 2023 as she sat at a reading table in her first grade classroom. She had sought $40 million against Parker in the lawsuit. Zwerner spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital, required 6 surgeries, and does not have the full use of her left hand. A bullet narrowly missed her heart and remains in her chest. Zwerner did not address reporters outside the courthouse after the decision was announced. One of her attorneys, Diane Toscano, said the verdict sends a message that what happened at the school was wrong and is not going to be tolerated, that safety has to be the first concern at school. I think it's a great message. Parker was the only defendant in the lawsuit. A judge previously dismissed the district's superintendent and the school principal as defendants. Police in a Dallas suburb say 24-year-old Dallas Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland was found dead of an apparent suicide after evading authorities in his vehicle and fleeing the scene of an accident on foot. Frisco police said Thursday they are investigating the suicide. They said Kneeland didn't stop for Texas Department of Public Safety troopers over a traffic violation in a chase that was joined by Frisco police on Wednesday night. Authorities lost sight of the vehicle before locating it, crashed minutes later. During the search after Kneeland fled the crash site on foot, officers said they received word that Kneeland might be suicidal. As authorities were looking for Kneeland, a dispatcher told officers that people who knew him had received a group text from Kneeland saying goodbye. They're concerned for his welfare, according to recordings from Broadcastify, which archives public safety radio feeds. We're talking to the girlfriend. She's trying to call his agent, but we're trying to get her to call him first because she's saying he is armed and has a history of mental illness. And her quote was, "He will end it all," another dispatcher told officers. He was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound early Thursday morning, about 3 hours after the crash, police said, without specifying where Kneeland's body was found. In the recordings from Broadcastify, officers said they had tried to get in contact with Kneeland by calling and texting him and had used a drone to try and locate him after the crash. Turning to other news, turn to news shorts on YouTube. On the PEP Radio YouTube channel, you will find our news shorts reported last night that include California Republicans sue over new U.S. House map approved by voters. The IRS direct file won't be available next year. Here's what that means for taxpayers. A federal judge orders the Trump administration to fully fund SNAP benefits in November. And the Supreme Court lets Trump block transgender and non-binary people from choosing passport sex markers. You can find those all again on the PEP Radio channel on YouTube in the News Shorts folder. That's the news at this hour. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, Roku, Alexa, and on the PEP Radio page at paequality.com. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.